The reason to keep Eliot Wolf and Jerod Mayo is that they're new to the gig and that they got hired less than 12 months ago and that it's a long-term rebuild. Therefore, you don't pull the plug.
I hate the statement. The goal is not to win.
It's terrible, but you know what? He's not wrong.
I mean, technically, no. He's 100%
I don't
correct.
feel like that's his opinion. Do you feel like that's his opinion or his reporting?
No,
because I think he's relaying what he has heard from people inside the organization.
They know they were going to contend this year. That's obvious, right? They know it's one of the worst rosters in football. You can't contend that way.
No, it's not about that, though. It's about not even winning. I don't know how many games we're going to win.
It sucks that you're in 7 one-possession games that it came down to. And Denver's 8-5. And so is Washington. That team you played this week is in the hunt. It's stupid 6-win team with that quarterback. I coulda, woulda, shoulda. I don't want to do this again next year. You're closer than you are further away, if it makes sense.
I don't know what you just said.
You're closer to being not a contender, but you're like the contenders to me are like the top 3 teams in each division. Like you're not a contender. You're not going to be a contender next year. But you could be in a playoff. You could be a playoff team.
Are you closer to being what you are now, or closer to being a contender next season? Is that what you're asking?
Well, yeah, it should carry you because you've got to learn what you did wrong in these 7 games where you were close and you only went 2-5 in those games. You got to find a way to win. You got to learn how not to lose. And I don't know how you get rid of all the mistakes and penalties. That's fear. You got to strike fear in these guys.
There's none.
There's none.
You don't
it's an
see
issue.
That. Do you see that?
I don't.
Do you see a coach who has a sense of accountability within his program for his players? Do the players on this team seem accountable as football players?
It's hard when you bench Ramondre, but you only bench him for 10 minutes. Like that. Guys see that, you know? It's hard because, you know, they're better than what they are. I know they look like a misfit. And people at the end of games, this team stinks. You had the ball in midfield with 7 minutes left and a 7-point lead. And you've lost 13 games at home over the last 2 seasons. It's the biggest one in the league. Most lost home games in the league over the last 2 years. That can't happen. You got to win at home. You're going to lose tight games on the road because that happens in this league.
But back to this point. They've been here only for less than 12 months.
Yep.
Therefore, they can't go. When did that become a rule? Not only that.
You know why?
They're not new here. They're not new. They've both worked here for some time.
Right.
Especially on the front office end of things. Eliot Wolf and Matt Groh's fingerprints are on the current roster. Okay?
One and done looks really, really bad.
It's not all 5 fingers, but it might be a pinky. Okay? In terms of what it is that they have to do with the current state of things. And oh, by the way, they're the guys who re-signed everybody and didn't bring in any meaningful new additions. So I'm sorry, year 1 is not okay, but is year 2 okay? If it's are you expected to rebuild in 2 years? No, a long-term rebuild is like 3-4 years. So do you get the full 3 or 4 years?
I think prior to Drake Maye playing, I think you're looking at at least 3 years.
When does it change?
It should change next year. It better change next year.
No. When does it change that you're allowed to be fired because you're no longer new?
End of next season.
I don't know. I don't know how they define that. When you don't care about winning in year 1 and you punt on the year, which is what this team has done. They have punted from the top down. They didn't do a search for GM. They didn't do a search for coach. They punted on the season. They're out there in training camp. The owner is telling us, I don't know how many games we're going to win. Jerod Mayo is telling us he's going to be a better coach in year 2. That he's getting ready for year 2 to be ready in year 2. I mean, they took a pass. They took a flyer like, it's good.
See, but like that's an honest answer because you're eliminated from the playoffs, so you're already looking to next year. Because really what these last 4 weeks are, it's an audition for guys that are here. And you're going to make a list. Yes, no. Who's on the roster?
Jerod Mayo has no fear of being fired, which is why he acts the way that he does. None. Because he knows he's not going to be held accountable. Not anytime soon. That's how he feels about it. I question if that's 100% true. I mean, if I had to place a bet on it, Jerod Mayo's back next year, but I don't think it's an automatic. I don't think it's the 100%, no doubt in anybody's mind. They won't even consider it. I think smart teams consider it even if they don't go through with it. I think smart teams prepare for it even if they don't go through with it. And you told me yesterday the Crafts are smart people.
All right.
In their other businesses, do they take a full punt on a calendar year, like in the paper business?
I don't know what our record's going to be this.
Like he went.
I don't know how our record's gonna. It's gonna suck.
He went and got
Again.
Bill. Like he went and got Bill.
Yes.
He gave up big draft picks for that.
Yeah, that was a
He had
vision.
Pete Carroll's going to be a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
Parcells, Hall of Fame. He's already in. They've had 3 Hall of Fame coaches here.
Right. So if you have,
They don't like a lot of change.
If
Well, they
you've
know what it
seen-
looks like when it's good.
Exactly.
They're gonna. I think they would fear, absolutely 1% fear, looking like, boy, we pulled the plug on this after 1 year. That's a bad look.
But what looks
It is
worse?
a bad look.
That makes the organization
It looks
look like
way
bad.
worse if he comes back for year 2 and it's a disaster in the second year of your young quarterback's career.
McCone, you're right. You know what? They're all bad looks. It's a bad look if you fire them.
Yep.
It's a bad look if you keep them. So you know what you got to figure out? What's a better outcome?
Yeah. What's the path to success?
What's the better outcome after 2 years, 3? When I get to 2026 and I look back at what we did at the end of 2024, what's going to leave me feeling better 2 years from now? Fixing it when I could have fixed it sooner rather than later, and I looked bad and took a bad hit on it, and the team looked bad for doing it. But you know what? We ultimately looked good because what we focused and prioritized was winning and not punting on multiple seasons instead of one. They punted on this year. It sucks. It feels crappy. At some point, I think it might hit him in the wallet. It might. Because you can't just keep sucking.
You can't, because the quarterback is a massive draw, but there's still, you look at an upper deck and there's speckling of blue seats.
Did you speckling? It was an ocean up there at the end of the game on Sunday in the fourth quarter.
You remember what the Jet game was like last year, Bill's last game? Like, but that's fait accompli there.
Yes.
Like, and nobody wants to go in that weather. But there were a time when people would sit in that weather. There was a time.
There was no
People
time
don't
in
care
Tom
about
Brady's
weather.
career did you say, oh, it's 35 and sunny, I'm going to skip out on today. Give me a break.
12
That
years
didn't
I've been calling
happen.
games there, and probably about 70% of the games at home, that whole lower bowl, people stayed on their feet. They sit down now. And they get up when they get excited. They're smart.
Oh, I'll throw it on the radio in between my shopping that I'm doing on, Black Friday weekend.
That's good for us. Good.
It's great for us.
Yeah.
It's not good for the team.
Nope.
Can't just keep going like this. So I don't care that it's a year, that they've only been here a year. If you're good at what you do, you're considering it right now because you're not happy with the results. Because you look at the results and say, this is pitiful. We are not doing it right.
Scary thing
This
is
is
you got-
not what it looks like. We know what it looks like.
Yes.
We've been good before.
You got, next 4 games, you got pretty good high potent offenses you're going to face. We know what the Chargers are doing. They're more balanced this year, obviously. But Buffalo's high flying. They're going to score points. Defense has the potential to get their ass kicked this month. And that would be a bad look. They got to bounce back.
What if we get Miami performances the rest of the way? Just non-competitive with the
I
Bills,
don't think you're gonna get
back-to-back
it.
games.
Bye. Get out. Fire the coach.
It's like one of those a year. Like Dallas last year.
Fire everybody.
That one this year.
I'm on board with firing
Oh, if
everybody.
they-
Fire them all.
If they cash out like that, I expect them to lose in Buffalo, and it would be great if you lose. I hate to say that. I mentioned this to you yesterday. It'd be great if they lost 24-21, but they battled and scored 3 red zone touchdowns in Buffalo. Like, okay, you got something. You're heading in the right direction. That's what you feel good about heading into the offseason. You're going to get your ass kicked for 4 weeks. This thing can get ugly. Because then you're looking at the idea of potentially ruining your quarterback. And you don't want that. That thing's trending well.
It's just a crazy view to say they've only been here a year, they've got to stay. When in that year, you handed these guys, as they came onto the job, great draft positioning throughout the draft, top 3 pick, great picks throughout the entire board, and a boatload of cap space. And then you just are allowed to just take a pass on the year
And you're going to get a top
and
10
not
pick this
get
year.
better?
And you're going to get a top 10 pick this year.
What? And you want to, you get a top 5 or a top 10 pick again. You want to hand it to the same people and say, do it again. since you guys nailed everything beyond Drake Maye. You guys were awesome. By the way, I want to hear what these offers were for the 3rd overall pick. Why have we not had anyone tell us what all the great offers were for that 3rd pick that Eliot turned down?
Maybe nothing got close.
I want to know what those offers were, what the concrete offers
Giants
were
wanted him
for the 3rd overall pick as we continue to...
Dayball wanted him.
I saw what Phil Perry saw in young Drake Maye.
Took some fortitude and balls to stand your ground on that.
Me?
Yeah.
I never wavered.
I know.
I never wavered on him.
Because there was a lot of potential players you could get. You could trade out. People were telling you he wasn't ready. 26 games in college. Wonky feet.
Told you.
I can't believe how good his footwork's gotten over this last month.
I did not remember your QB rankings, but Fowler, NBC Sports Boston, has the graphic from before the draft. Oh, no. I did not set you up on this. That's Fowler's doing. That is not me or T-Bone that did
That's
that
fine.
to you.
All I could go off of is a couple games I've seen each guy play, watch a little tape, and then I watched all of their pro days. Drake didn't have the greatest pro day, if you remember.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
McCarthy had the best pro day. I thought Caleb Williams just casually went through his. He knew he was going to be the number 1 pick. He didn't really care at his. And Daniels just seemed like money. Daniels was like the best one. I was rooting for Penix because my problem was I watched a lot of Washington. They were on TV every week.
He might get his shots.
But he was so freaking productive. But like he spun it.
I still think all those guys ahead of Drake Maye on your list, you had him 5th.
But I mean, it's not
might be
like,
able to play. It's not like I think any of those guys are.
No, but it's
like
not
Caleb Williams. I would not take him over Drake Maye right now, but I think he could be definitely a long-term
The point is
starter.
Like the point is, whoever was there at 3, you were taking, and it's like they're all there together, but you got to rank them. They're all close. I'm not saying one's way off. I think I had Bo Nix way down.
Yes, you should have.
And he's played well.
He's okay.
To Sean Payton's
he didn't
credit.
even play well the other night. Like
It looks
take
scattered.
that one touchdown out of his day, and he sucked. I don't think he's good. You don't think he's good.
They started in week 1, and he's got 8 wins.
I credit Sean Payton for that team.
I do
having
too.
8 wins.
Sean's a great coach.
So I don't even want to go there. But yeah, Drake Maye's been great. So do you want to waste another year of Drake Maye? Do you want to take another pass on a season the way you did this year?
Can't.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Everyone just assumes, it'll be so much better this year. It'll just be so much better of an offseason. What resources exist this offseason that didn't exist last offseason? Someone answer me that question.
His ability to influence it. Drake's. That's it.
That's it. One thing.
That's it. Because you still have the same money. You're way under the cap. You got a lot of money to burn. You got high picks again.
Is that why Calvin Ridley didn't come here?
You didn't blow him
it's
away.
because they didn't offer him the most money.
Right.
And another team that offered him the most money got him. So again,
So you have to do it
me,
this year.
Tell me why the resources are different this year outside of you've got an attraction in a quarterback. So at least that box is checked.
See, and if they're giving Eliot another shot at this thing.
But I got news. Other teams have quarterbacks too.
Right? It's quarterback league. Should be. Right?
There are other teams with quarterbacks.
But if you're giving Eliot another shot at this thing, you've got to give him the ability to spend. Like, I don't think you could say, okay, we get on this receiver. We're in at 30, but we're not in at 33. You got to stay out of it.
The way you say that, was he capped in some way?
I would think so.
Oh.
You have to have some sort of direct, like, if you're collaborative, and this is the guy you picked and continue to move on, I want to see what you're doing.
So he couldn't offer Calvin Ridley more because he was up against the owner's own in-house salary cap?
I don't know that. I don't know that.
Well, if that's true, that's bad. That's really bad.
It is,
and that means that means expect more of the same.
See, I don't think that was the way with Ayuk. I don't think Ayuk ever wanted to come here. He was just trying to play people for money. He likes it out west. I didn't really like the Ayuk going after Ayuk. Ridley was good.
Didn't feel like a number one.
It didn't feel like Ayuk does not feel like a number one to me because Debo's there and overshadows him. Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.